The 2021 Ironman Cairns champion is expected to be tougher than ever this weekend. From defending champions to inspirational comebacks, this year's race is being tipped as one of the highest quality that we've seen in years.
I think for the first time in my professional career, I'm believing that if I have the day that I'm capable of, then I can win.
Hi, Team Renee. I don't know why I'm doing this. I guess I'm doing it. I was going to do a YouTube in the lead up to the race. I don't know why I didn't. Call it fate. Anyway, I never want to. I always say, like, when I'm pulling content together before a race, like, oh, maybe if I have a good race, I'll do a YouTube episode after and talk about the race a little bit. But I swear I'm never going to do it if I don't have the race that I plan for. But I guess I'm doing this because I think it's important that everyone sees the low times in the journey. And I obviously pride myself on being pretty honest and keeping things real, and I guess that's why I'm doing this. So Cairns Ironman 2021 version or edition. How was I feeling pre-race? I was feeling really fit. I've done a huge training block, probably the biggest training block I've ever done in the last couple of months. No doubt that I was feeling the fittest of my life, swim, bike and run. Had some breakthrough sessions on the run, ran a PB in a 70.3 6 weeks ago, and my runs only improved from there, in training anyway. So actually I was really excited yesterday, mostly for the run. So yeah, I was feeling very fit, but also extremely tired. I don't think I'd ever felt that level of fatigue before, and our taper's like a little bit different. We kind of like freshen up, I guess 10 days or 15 days before the race, a little bit, like do a big key last session and then have a couple of days off for recovery after that session, and then we kind of not load up, but we still like train decent amount for 4 or 5 days, and then come Wednesday before race week we sort of dwindles back down again, and a bit more recovery and freshening up. And I normally feel really good on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, but I didn't feel like that this week. And the other main sign I use to tell how I'm feeling is I normally struggle to sleep come sort of Tuesday before race week, and simply because of energy levels. I'm not so tired from training. But this week I've like been out like a light for 9 hours every night, and even after just swimming in the mornings, the week before the race, I was like getting home and struggling to stay awake. I was just feeling really fatigued still and tired. So anyway, that is what it is. Like, the body's a funny thing. Anyway, I like honestly didn't even let that get to me. I just blocked it out of my head and didn't worry about it too much, because obviously the way you're feeling doesn't necessarily dictate the power output and the output that you're giving. So I've learned that to kind of ignore and try and shut out how you're feeling instead of letting it affect you. So I was pretty good in ignoring that. Race day, all normal, like felt like I slept a solid 6 hours the night before the race. Felt really like nervous but excited. And I guess I had really talking about my expectations for the race, like I came here believing 100% that I could win, and that was the goal. Not beating anyone else, but putting together a race that I feel that I'm capable of at the moment. I had not time goals are like silly, but I had some ideas in my mind of what I was capable of. I wanted to be swimming chase pack around the 53-54 minute mark. I thought a 4:45 bike split was achievable on this bike course on a good day, and I really wanted to run a 3:15 marathon, and my pace goals were between a 3:10 to 3:15 marathon, and that's the day I wanted to put together, which is close to 9 hours. So yeah, the time wasn't the goal, but they just, for those watching, that was like roughly what I thought I was capable of in this course. And I thought that if I achieved that would be very close to the win here. So for the first time in my career, I legitimately came here. I've never felt that way before a race. I've always felt like, oh, maybe I could podium if I had a great race, but I'm pretty realistic about my competitors and the level that I'm at. But yeah, coming here this year, I legitimately felt like I was capable of winning the race, and Ironman is my thing. I'm much better at the Ironman distance. And I had a lot of self-belief. It wasn't like a goal that I thought was like pie in the sky and not achievable. I really felt like it was a realistic expectation. So back to race morning, everything was fine, excited, nervous, had my family here, which was awesome, and my housemate there supporting me on race morning and helping me out. So that was great. I felt pretty good, like got in my swim warm up, felt pretty good, arms felt good. My strategy for the swim was to get straight on my buddy Amelia's feet. So I literally 100% ticked that box. If you actually watch the swim footage back, I'm not sure, we might have some in this video, you can see me, I'm on the far left, and I don't even, when the gun goes, everyone runs straight for the beach, and I just like make a beeline to my left because that's where Amelia was, and I just dove straight onto her feet. The swim was incredibly choppy. It was really difficult out there, a really windy morning. So I think it made it, I don't think anyone was on anyone's feet. I was in the pack, like with Amelia, I think Chloe, Courtney and Penny. Like there was a bunch of us that are like similar level swimmers all together for a little while, but it broke up really quickly. And actually for a while there, I thought my swim was way worse than it was, because I was solo and I could see the lead kayak, and I assumed that was there out front. But after a while, only after 500 meters, I couldn't even see the lead kayak. So I was like, oh gosh, this is not good. And I had no other girls around me at all, no one on my feet, and I wasn't near anyone. So I was just starting to have that negative chatter in my head, like this is really bad. But anyway, I just swam out of my skin, and I swam as hard as I could. And then it was kind of funny, I actually bumped into Amelia. I lost her and I lost everyone. And then maybe 3/4 of the way through the first lap, so it was a 2-lap course, I saw a silver cap just like 10 meters ahead of me, just out of nowhere. And then I was looking at it and I was like, oh God, I think that's Amelia, because she has like purple straps on her goggles. And I was stoked when I figured out that it was her, because I thought, gosh, if that's her, then like my swim's not as bad as I think it is. So just calm down and chill out and get back on her feet. So then I got on her feet for a little while, and then actually I felt like she was holding me up, so I kind of went around her, and then we like swam side by side for a bit, and then I went in front and swapped turns a little bit and swam side by side for a little bit. And then eventually like lost each other. So then the rest of the swim was solo for the last lap, so another 1.5K solo-ish time. And then as I was running into transition, I heard them say, and Amelia Watkinson's just come out. So I knew then that we'd obviously just sort of come out of the swim like within 30 seconds of each other. So that made me feel a little bit better, because I thought if I can hurry up through transition, then we can maybe work together on the bike to get ourselves to the front of the race. So yeah, I decided to put in a pretty hard effort to see if I could bridge up to Amelia. So I did put in a pretty hard effort. I wouldn't say I felt great on the bike. The power output was there, the power numbers were there, but the effort felt really hard compared to how I normally feel in a race. Like you can be pushing 4 watts a kilo and feels easy, you know, when you're feeling good. And I was pushing around that power, but it felt like a really hard effort to do that. So anyway, that was fine. I just didn't worry about how I was feeling and more just like kept putting the effort in. Certainly like pushed far higher than Ironman power, probably for a good hour actually. But there was two lap course, so a few turnarounds. At the first turnaround, I noticed that I was still seemed to be about 30 seconds back from Amelia, maybe 45 seconds. And I think there was like 3 or 4 minutes to the two front girls. I'd already passed someone on the way out there, so I knew I was in 4th at that point. So yeah, I felt like I didn't know the gap from the swim to Beck and Chloe, but being around 4 minutes at the turnaround, I assumed that the gap from the swim would have only been that at most. A little disheartening that I'd put in such a hard effort and didn't seem to be like gaining on anyone. Anyway, I decided then on the lap back to Palm Cove, I noticed Amelia had closed the gap a little bit to them and I'd closed the gap a little bit to them as well. So that gave me some confidence. I think the gap had come down to about 3 minutes then from me to the leaders, and I knew Amelia was going to catch them like pretty quickly. And I thought, okay, like if I'm pushing above, at that point my average power was much higher than my average Ironman power that I sort of use as a guide. And I thought, okay, I feel now that they're biking too hard and everyone's going to slow down. Like if I'm biking higher than my average Ironman power and I'm generally the fastest biker, like they have to be over biking. So just stick to my plan and they're probably going to slow down. That's what I kept telling myself. So anyway, I sort of reset at that turnaround point and thought, okay, just push solid, settle into like Ironman power, and see how we go like to this far turnaround. So I actually, at the far turnaround at Palm Cove, I actually caught, by that point Amelia had she'd taken the lead and overtaken Beck and Chloe at that point and gapped them by about a minute. And I'd actually bridged up to them at that turnaround at Palm Cove. So I put 3 minutes into them in, I don't know how long, 40K or something like that, 45K. So that gave me a big sense of relief. Like when I caught them there, I was like, okay, I still feel like I've got gas in the tank for this last leg home. And I've ridden 3 minutes into them in half a lap, basically. So yeah, there's still an opportunity here. If I ride hard on the way home, I can still put easily 5 minutes into them on the way home. So I put an incredibly hard effort in to go around both of those girls. I sort of sat back for a bit, got some nutrition and hydration in and picked my moment. And yeah, I think I pushed about 250 watts for, maybe like between 5 and 10 minutes. To make sure I went around them really hard and to do my best to drop them. And I thought I'd done that. I turned around and I couldn't see anyone. So I thought, yeah, awesome. Like you've made the pass and they haven't jumped on. Anyway, I kept riding and then you hit sort of the hilly section with the tough crosswinds and headwind. And so I wasn't looking back. I was just riding, settled back into Ironman pace and got myself ready for the last sort of 40, 50K. And then I looked back at one point and saw a white helmet and I thought it was actually Beck behind me. So I thought, oh gosh, she's like made an effort and caught up to me. And I didn't know where Amelia was at that stage. I couldn't see her ahead of me. And then I thought like maybe I was seeing things and she didn't take the lead. So a photographer came past on a motorbike and I actually said, do you know where Amelia is? And he said, oh, she's ahead, but she's not very far ahead, only like a minute up the road. So again, that gave me some confidence that, yeah, if I kept pushing, I might like catch her. Anyway, the last sort of 40K of Ironman Cairns is incredibly tough. It's always like hot. The road surface is shit. It's flat, but it's just awful going into town. The winds are always atrocious in that section. And I knew that was my like target section to put some time into the other girls. So anyway, I rode pretty hard in that section. Caught Amelia maybe like 15K from town. and overtook her, and I thought I was riding by myself pretty much with one of the male pros, and it wasn't till like in town when I came into T2 that I realized that Chloe was actually riding behind me. So I had no idea that she was probably behind me the entire way from like the 100k mark through to the end. So that was a big surprise. So anyway, I think the highlight of my day was coming into town on the bike. It was just like the streets of Cairns were just lined, that whole esplanade. It felt like it was like 2 to 3 people deep the whole way in, and I felt like a freaking rock star. Like everyone just screaming my name and like, just screaming and cheering and clapping. It was, I get emotional just thinking about it. It was incredible to feel that support coming in on the bike, and I already knew from social media how much everyone was behind me to have a great result, and I felt like me coming in first on the bike really excited everybody that I was potentially going to be in the run for a great race. Towards the end of the bike, my stomach was feeling like very sore and very bloated and tight, and I just thought, no, it's just the bike, you've probably drank too much, you're hunched over in TT position, don't worry about it, you're not going to know how you feel till you get off the bike. So I came off the bike in transition, ran through transition. I think Chloe was only like 30 seconds behind me. She ran out of transition first. I like stopped at the aid station straight away out of transition and got some more fluid into me and on my head. And I just knew straight away that it was going to be a big issue, the run. I just felt incredibly sore in the stomach and like very close to like that vomit point. And I knew, and very extremely bloated and tight in the tummy. And I just knew that it was going to be an issue. I started out at my target pace, which was running at 4:25 to 4:30 pace, but it felt really hard. Like the last Ironman I did, I remember I had to keep holding myself back because it just felt so easy, the pace, and I was hitting the pace, but it felt like a difficult effort. So I probably knew, like within 2 kilometers, that it wasn't going to be a great day on the run, and it was going to be a battle. And then the problem just gradually got worse. I took a jelly, and I normally have a gel within the first 30 minutes of the run, because then I kept looking at my clock and thinking I can't take this in because I'm too, like my stomach's too sore. I knew that I needed to let it settle more. So I think I had my first gel at about the 58-minute mark, and straight away like I just felt sorer in the stomach and tighter. I think I held, my average pace was around the 4:30 pace mark for the first 10k, but it's 4 loops marathon, but it was a real struggle to keep at that pace for the first lap. And I walked the aid stations, I kept cool, I did all of that right. It was just literally the energy issue, the nutrition issue. So at the end of the first lap, I wanted to DNF. I started thinking like, this is, a decision I need to start thinking about, like what I'm going to do in the next few weeks. I'm so fit, like I feel like running this marathon is going to destroy my legs, and then maybe I can't do another race for a while, blah blah blah. You go through all these thoughts, I guess, as a professional, what's the right decision to make. But oh god, the cheers on course and the support for me on course, I can't even explain it. Like crazy, the amount of people on this course yesterday, even compared to last year, and I felt it was a lot last year, but yesterday was like another level. I wouldn't have went 5 steps without someone screaming my name. I mean, like screaming my name, so encouraging. God, it like, honestly, I think I was in tears about 4 or 5 times on that run yesterday. Just so emotional, like with everyone being so positive, and obviously knowing that I was in the hurt locker, I was just giving no one anything back, and I was shaking my head a lot of the time. So yeah, the end of the first lap, I had the thoughts about DNFing, and then as I went on and I saw my coach, and he was like really saying, Renee, just like taking Coke whenever you can at the aid stages, problem solve and do something different. So I think I couldn't get any Coke in for the first couple of aid stations. I couldn't even have like a mouthful of Coke. That's how bad my stomach was. But after a while, like after, you know, another half a lap, another 5 or 6 kilometers, I started having like maybe a mouthful of Coke at each aid station, and that seemed to be okay. But I just felt really uncomfortable and sore the whole run. But yeah, I had some really dark moments out there. Why am I doing this sport? Why don't I go back to work? I'm never gonna be at the top. I'm never gonna win an Ironman. I'm just like average Anne. Yeah, I had all those moments yesterday on the race, and I'm still having them today. Hopefully they'll go away in the next few days when the dust settles. Honestly, the support on course that kept me going. Like, I could have stepped off that course at least 10 times yesterday. I convinced myself, like, stop. But between like my family, my housemate, my coach, and everybody out there, like, it's just incredible what you can put your body through. I've never felt pain like that before. And I guess it was from the lack of energy. It's like you're basically running bonked for like 21 kilometers. I normally get that like really bad pain, muscular breakdown pain. Like, of course, everybody gets it in an Ironman around the 25, 30 kilometer mark. But this came like at the 15 kilometer mark, where every step was just excruciating, basically, the lack of energy from so early on. Anyway, woe is me. Just one step ahead of the other, like one leg in front of the other. Literally, that's all I did, and I just kept making deals with myself. Just run, and then you can stop at the aid station. Just run, do whatever you can. Don't even look at your watch. Don't worry about the pace. Just run, and then you can stop again soon. And it was actually crazy. The amount of walking I was doing was like insane. I was like walking really slowly through the aid stations, and yeah, even on the third lap, people kept screaming and saying, you're not actually losing very much time. Yeah, that was another boost, you know, like even on the third lap, I kept like saying to myself, just keep running, like you never know what's going to happen. You never know what will happen up the front. Yeah, so anyway, it was a long day of self-talk just to get to that finish line. I just can't even describe the pain I was in yesterday. It was like another level. So yeah, that's the race. Finished at the finish line, looked for my parents straight away. As actually, I don't mean this in a mean way, but it's the first time I've wanted immediately to see my parents or a good friend. Like, I looked for my housemate and my parents the minute I crossed that line. I was wandering around like a lost soul, just in the finish line area. I couldn't find them. So, Ironman Cairns. 5th place out of 10 female pros. Swim 53:44 is actually, I couldn't have been happier with that swim actually, considering most of it was solo and it was very, very choppy conditions. Bike 4:54. Yeah, it was really, really tough out there, and I held the same power I've held in my last couple of Ironmans. Yeah, I just thought I could have went quicker. I thought 4:45 to 4:50 was possible on that course, but anyway, times don't matter. It was extremely windy out there. A very tough day on the bike. Probably, I would say, the toughest bike leg I've done in an Ironman before. Fastest bike split. And then run 3 hours 27 minutes. To be honest with you, like now in hindsight, like looking at that I just walked so much of that marathon. It was crazy. I honestly, when I was out there, felt like that was going to be like a 4-hour marathon. Yeah, 3:27 run, I guess. Feeling awful on my worst day, and walking the majority of the marathon is something to be kind of proud of, I guess. Overall, 9 hours 20 minutes. Yeah, and I guess, again, when I'm being sensible, to do a 9-hour 20 Ironman on what was, you know, not feeling great on the bike, terrible run, I guess it shows how far I've come, but how much my expectations of myself have changed as well. So, yeah. I'm incredibly sad. That's the honest truth. I know everyone says, you know, like, get back up and there'll be another chance and it's just a race and all of that. But the reality is, this is my job. It's important, you know, like, the results are important. It means a lot to me. It means it's what I work for every day. And I want to win an Ironman. Like, that's my dream, it's my goal. And I feel like yesterday was my best chance to do that, and I failed. That's how I feel. I feel like I failed. I know I haven't. I know I'll see the positives soon, but my body failed me, and therefore I failed in that goal yesterday. And I just feel like so many people were behind me and rooting for me yesterday, and all in the lead up to the race, that it's very difficult not to feel like you've let people down. And of course, the sensible side of me knows I haven't let anyone down, but that's just how I feel. I draw so much energy from my social media family, all my connections and all my friends, that it's really difficult not to feel like people are invested in your journey. And I don't want to be one of those athletes that's all talk and never any results. Like, I don't want to be that. I want to be vocal on social media. I want to inspire people, and I want to change lives. But I don't want to be one of those people that thinks they're better than they are. And my background and my story is very important, and it will never change. It's a big part of who I am. But I also don't want that to define me. I'm at the level of my career now where I know I'm getting better, but I want to be better. I want to be, like, on the podium consistently every race. I want to win an Ironman. I want to qualify for Kona. I don't want to be known as the girl who was overweight that's racing pro now and does okay. That's great, but I don't want that to be all that I'm known for. I want people to look at my results and go, wow, like, she's a good athlete. And then, wow, look at her background. I don't want my story just to be about my background. So I guess it's like that internal battle, like, of your own thoughts. Like, do I just shut up and don't talk on social media and keep to myself and be one of those people that everyone says, oh, they're like a quiet achiever and they just go about their business? But that's not me. Like, I like to play a role in improving people's lives. I like to see people getting the best out of themselves. Like, I genuinely love it. It means so much to me. So I can't be one of those people that's, like, quiet on social media, because then I miss that component of stuff that's really drives me and is really important to me. So anyway, that's how it feels on day one after not performing at your best. And I appreciate the messages. Like, my phone is just so many messages, it's crazy. And I do my best all the time to reply to everyone. I don't just do that to tick the box. I do it because I genuinely appreciate everyone's support and love. And I know everyone is behind me, or the majority. I'm sure there's some people that hate me out there. Yeah, just know that I do draw a lot from it, and I will, of course, be back and pull myself together and keep up this freaking fight to get better. And I want to make sure races don't affect me too much. You just got to get on with things, and yeah, you really try, but obviously there's some races that mean more to you and you've put a lot more work into, or whatever, that are always going to affect you more, and this was certainly one of those times. But I guess for now, I just want to say thank you so much. God, it's so cliche when people like say thank you for the support and whatever, but I really genuinely mean it. Like, I promise I will do better next time. I'm going to make you all even prouder. I know you're already proud, but I'm going to make you even prouder by getting good results. Yeah, I'm going to keep fighting, of course, to try and be better than ordinary.